I'm BrigantiaBlackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome to the daily forecast for Monday, December 16th, 2024. It is the 26th of Sagittarius, and it is the day of Mrs. Claus. And we can see that Mrs. Claus today, she does not let a little thing like winter get in the way of her growing her vegetables. You gotta admire her spunk for that. Next up, our astrology. The sun is in Sagittarius, mutable fire, which represents adventure. The moon is third quarter Cancer, cardinal water, which represents emotional rapport. Mercury is in Sagittarius, mutable fire, which is to be opinionated. Venus is in Aquarius, fixed air, which is the intellectual. Mars is retrograding in Leo, fixed fire, which represents tempered action. Jupiter is retrograding in Gemini, mutable air, which is to broaden perspective. Saturn is in Pisces, mutable water, which represents nostalgia. Uranus is retrograding in Taurus, fixed earth, representing rebellion. Neptune is in Pisces, mutable water, which represents intuition. Pluto is in Aquarius, fixed air, representing reformation. Now for our retrograde reminders. For Mars, reconsider what you really want. For Jupiter, reconnect with your true path. For Uranus, reconsider how you rebel. And for Chiron, restore the heroic spirit. We are now in a waning gibbous moon, so it's time to express gratitude and reap the benefits of your work. And the Cancer moon theme is nurturing and belonging. It's always something about nurturing and belonging when we're dealing with anything involving the sign of Cancer. So today is now the time to absorb the energies from last night's full moon ritual and begin to turn slightly inward. So keep close to hearth and home, pay extra attention to your loved ones. Make sure to get cozy this evening, especially if you're experiencing a cold spell. This is all very warm, fuzzy feelings kind of day and especially evening. So definitely make the most of that. Today's tarot is the Sun. In the major arcana, it is number 19, and number 19 in this deck represents vitality. And the keywords for this hope are vigor, hope, and enlightenment. And I mean, gosh, isn't that exactly the energy that this card in its illustration is exuding for us? I love the way they represented the sun here. It's present, but it's dipping down behind the mountains, or maybe it's peeking up behind them. Probably dipping down because I would imagine if you're having a picnic with wine, that's not a breakfast picnic now, is it? But it's dipping down, and you can tell the sun is not at its full strength, but it's still there, and you can get a really cozy kind of energy out of it. And you see, with everyone ice skating and with the picnicking, this is a fun time. This is a good time. People are enjoying their lives. They're probably hopeful to the future when we have people toasting. And, all of the lessons that have come before, they have culminated in this moment. And there's just a sense of peace. So can we attain a sense of peace? With this floating around in the air with our current astrological atmosphere, pursuing peace, enjoying what peace that we have, focusing upon the good. That really seems to be the message for today of, enjoy any kind of goodness that is coming your way. Then today's Celtic triad, three plagues of the wise, a young lover, drink, and bad temper. So all these things turn a wise person back into a fool now, don't they? And, with the youth and beauty, I mean, the first thing that popped into my head about how there's no fool like an old fool. And just, the May, December romances that you see sometimes, they never make either party. It doesn't look becoming. It doesn't present them in a favorable light, does it? It makes the young person look a bit grasping and probably greedy, especially if the older person has money or property or something that they could monetarily benefit from. And the older person, it just makes them look like they lost their head over a pretty face. They didn't think about the implications of the relationship. They did it because it's making them feel good and it's flattering their vanity. It's very, very difficult to persuade people that a May December romance is actually sincere, and it's actually because those people really do belong together. It's a very difficult thing for anyone to accept as being genuine or authentic. And then we have the issue of drink. And now drinking to excess without any kind of restraint, that's going to be a problem for anyone. But for the wise person, that overindulgence, that's going to destroy their understanding because it's going to destroy their brain cells. And because they are making the same bad decision to go to that excess, it shows that they are destroying their own wisdom. So again, it's transforming them back into a fool. And then a bad temper, along with the inevitable bad manners that follow a bad temper. That destroys relationships. It destroys a person's credibility. And again, where we got to a point of wisdom, and then we threw that wisdom away, and then we rejoined the ranks of fools. Definitely something to avoid so far as is possible. And it's good to be aware that no matter how wise we are, that doesn't mean that we are incapable of falling into error. So I think that's a pretty powerful lesson to take with us today. Now, for today's magical correspondences, they are on the theme of enchantment. The color is silver, the plant is monkshood, the animal's cat, and the crystal is cracked quartz. The cracked quartz is the amplifying stones of all amplifying stones. Quartz will do that in general, but cracked quartz takes it to a whole other level. So, if you are needing to give any kind of spell work you're doing, whether it's for this intention or another, if you can incorporate some cracked quartz, I promise you, you're going to get some major bang for your buck there. So, while there is a lot of magic that's just inherent during the Yuletide season and, usually our own moods, sometimes we do still need a little bit of a push. Maybe we live with someone who is not really aligned with the Yuletide spirit. Maybe we ourselves we find it difficult to get into things. But never fear, we can use our capabilities for those of us who are within the craft to create the atmosphere, to create and generate this to make it a bit easier for ourselves and for others to flow in with that spirit. So we don't have to look around saying like, "Oh, it's a bit down around me," and just accept it without anything else. We can use our skills to make that better. Then today's hearthkeeping hint. It's about closets, and I found a doozy of a closet for you for this illustration. Closets, let's be honest, they are the bane of many a household. And while a messy closet can, disguise the presence of the Yule gifts, because if you have a gift hidden in that closet, it's gonna take you at least a week to uncover it. And it makes retrieval of the gift difficult when you need to. It makes it stressful, and it also increases the likelihood of damaging the goods, which no one wants. So do yourself a favor, tidy the closets. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it can be better than that. Now, for our practice to begin with, in Icelandic myth, the famed Yule cat will eat people if he encounters those who are not wearing new clothes. So I guess look to your wardrobe a little bit if you live in Iceland. Today might also greet the dusk. Our archetype to consider today is the Snow Queen. What unique qualities does this queen possess? Specifically, what does she have that an archetypal spring queen or summer queen or autumn queen would lack? What does she have that is uniquely hers? Then for a meditation, something we might look to is comfort in the dark. A lot of people are very discomforted by the dark, so refocusing our minds on what can actually give us those warm fuzzies, that can actually be very quite helpful, particularly for those who might be suffering from seasonal affective disorder. And then you might carry or wear some sapphire today. And never fear for any expensive stone. There are usually tumbled versions that are a lot more affordable. So if you want one, look for something that's tumbled. It'll serve your purposes perfectly well, but you're not going to be paying an ungodly amount of money for it. Then in today's Creative Corner, it's about ritual robes for this time of year. If you are handy with needle and thread and you have the time, because I mean, the clock is winding down for us, gang, consider making your own special ritual robes for Yule. You can take inspiration from the pantheons you work with, the tribal customary clothes our ancestors used to wear, symbols of your faith, nature itself. You can be really creative with this because, for the most part, we don't have an exact copy and paste of our ancestors absolutely wore that. I mean, we have some clues and some hints, but because there is a little bit of ambiguity, this is an opportunity to be creative and do something that you enjoy and that makes you feel good when you wear it. And if you do make something, be sure to share. Inspire other people. I mean, let others admire the skill with which you did things, but also, that might be the little push for someone to say, you know what, I'm going to start doing that for myself. I have the skills or I have the time to learn them. I can do this. I want to do this. And I can have something a little bit special for these seasonal celebrations. So uh, definitely take that on if you can. And then today's journal prompt. Are you good at keeping secrets? Whether that answer is yes or no, how has this characteristic affected your life? So, on that note, everyone, have a magical day. I wish you bright blessings and all of the joys of the season. Come back tomorrow for the next edition of the Daily Forecast, and I will see you then.